Emily Carter had always loved the quiet predictability of her small bookstore in Oregon, where the soft music and the smell of old paper felt comforting. But everything changed one rainy Thursday when Daniel Walker, her close friend's older brother, walked in. She had known him for years but only in passing, always polite, always distant. Yet today there was something different, something in the way he held her gaze, serious and hesitant, that made her heart skip. He approached the counter with a nervous energy, and when he asked for her help, Emily felt a strange mix of curiosity and tension. She didn't know what he wanted or why he came to her, only that his presence felt heavier than usual. Daniel admitted he needed her to teach him something, but refused to explain in the busy store, asking to meet after closing. Emily agreed, her mind racing with possibilities, a mixture of excitement and apprehension, while the rain outside seemed to echo the nervous anticipation between them. As the day ended and the sign turned to closed, she felt a pull she had never felt before, sensing that whatever Daniel wanted to learn would change the calm rhythm of her life, though she didn't yet understand in what way. That evening, as she prepared to meet him, her thoughts swirled with questions, and an unfamiliar thrill ran through her, an emotional tug that promised something more than ordinary friendship, something deep and unspoken, waiting to unfold the moment he arrived that evening. Emily waited in the quiet bookstore, the soft glow of the lamps casting long shadows across the shelves, as Daniel returned with an intensity she hadn't expected, and when he finally sat across from her, the air between them felt heavy with unspoken emotions. He spoke carefully, almost hesitantly, revealing that he wanted her to teach him how to love someone the right way. Not in a dramatic romantic gesture sense, but in a gentle, real human way. He admitted that his previous relationship had ended not in anger or betrayal but in quiet drift, leaving him confused, unsure, and afraid of repeating mistakes. Emily listened, her heart tightening as his words landed softly but deeply, realizing that he trusted her in a way few people ever had, and in that moment something inside her shifted, a quiet ache of recognition that she had always admired him from afar, yet never imagined being this close, this important to him. Daniel explained he wanted guidance on understanding emotions, expressing care, listening and connecting without fear, lessons in honesty, patience and vulnerability, and Emily felt the weight of his trust, the raw sincerity that made her pulse quicken. Yet the conversation was calm, intimate and deeply moving, stirring feelings she hadn't expected to feel for him. As he spoke, their hands brushed accidentally, just a fleeting touch that sent an unspoken signal of closeness, and Emily realized that what started as a request for help was transforming into something profoundly personal, something that could blur the line between teacher and friend, between guidance and connection. She agreed to help, her voice steady but heart racing, knowing that these lessons could open doors to emotions she hadn't dared explore. And as Daniel left that night, there was a quiet electricity lingering in the empty bookstore, a sense that their lives were about to intertwine in ways neither of them could predict, marking the beginning of a journey filled with learning, trust, and the fragile stirrings of a bond that promised more than simple friendship. After their first evening together, Daniel began visiting Emily almost every night, turning their meetings into a quiet routine of conversation, laughter, and shared silences that carried more meaning than either expected. And with each visit, Emily felt the invisible threads between them grow stronger, though she tried to focus only on the lessons she was giving him. They talked about feelings, fears, and hopes, walked through the bookstore aisles discussing small things that seemed ordinary but felt intimate, and occasionally just sat together, sharing the comfort of presence without needing words. Yet every brush of hands or accidental touch sent tiny jolts through Emily's chest, making her aware that their connection was becoming something beyond teacher and learner. One evening, as they unpacked a new shipment of books, their hands lingered close together, not daring to meet but unable to pull away, and Daniel admitted softly that he hadn't expected learning from her to make him see her differently, stirring emotions Emily had kept carefully tucked away for years. The admission hung between them, electric and tender, as Emily felt her own heart betray her composure, realizing she had fallen for him in ways she couldn't ignore. Yet Daniel's caution made the moment bittersweet. He didn't want to confuse things, didn't want to cross boundaries they hadn't agreed on, and that restraint made Emily ache with longing. Each night ended with him leaving, a pause in the rhythm of their growing closeness, leaving Emily staring at the now quiet bookstore, heart pounding, mind swirling, as she grappled with the unexpected depth of feelings and the tension of wanting more while respecting the fragile trust they were building. By the time Daniel returned each night, the anticipation had become almost unbearable, a magnetic pull neither could name but both felt, as the lessons about love became entwined with the first stirrings of romance, hope, and the delicate fear of opening their hearts too soon, setting the stage for a turning point neither of them could yet predict. After several days without seeing Daniel, Emily felt a quiet emptiness in the bookstore, the shelves and soft music no longer comforting, and each moment without him seemed heavier, filled with unspoken questions and a longing she could no longer ignore, until finally on the fourth day, he appeared, breathless and urgent, his eyes full of emotions he could no longer contain, and without hesitation, he stepped toward her, speaking with a tremor in his voice that made her pulse quicken as he admitted the truth she had been secretly hoping for. He hadn't asked her to teach him about love for someone in general. He had come to her because he had already realized he wanted to love her, and he just hadn't known how to say it. Emily's heart raced, a mixture of shock, relief, and warmth flooding her as she absorbed his words, the intensity of his confession cutting through the quiet of the bookstore and wrapping her in a wave of emotion she had long suppressed. As Daniel explained that spending time with her, learning about patience, care, and understanding, had opened his eyes to the feelings he had been denying for years, and now he was ready to embrace them fully. She felt tears prickling at the corners of her eyes, a soft, joyful ache that made her chest tighten, realizing that all the evenings of conversation, quiet walks between shelves, and subtle touches had led them to this moment, a fragile but powerful connection that had grown from trust and understanding into mutual love. Daniel stepped closer, his voice gentle, asking if she would let him try, promising to learn and grow together, and Emily, her heart overflowing, whispered her agreement, knowing that they would navigate their feelings side by side, cherishing the lessons of love they had discovered together. And in that quiet bookstore, with soft light reflecting off the shelves, they shared a silent promise, a tender acknowledgement that what had begun as a request for guidance had blossomed into a love both gentle and profound, a beginning of something neither expected but both longed for, leaving the story suspended in a perfect, heartfelt moment of hope, connection, and new beginnings.